Hey guys, it's me, your friend, the Pagan Wanderess. Today I just want to talk to you a little bit about recognizing when the universe is trying to get a hold of you. Um, I think that there are lots of different ways that the universe reaches out and tries to get our attention, and different people have different ways of feeling it. I think that it's important to note that I think a lot of times we sort of, or at least myself, I'm guilty of this. I don't always look at everything in like a magical way because I'm such a huge fan of science and facts and so a lot of times I feel like I'm not to say that I'm left-brained, because I'm definitely more right-brained than left-brained for sure, but I struggle. I feel like I try to rationalize and use a reductionist way of making things seem normal. Normalcy is good for me. I like it. As much as I love, the occult and believing in magic and believing in the higher power and a higher intelligence, I still struggle. I'm like I said, I'm like both ends of the same spectrum all the time. So a lot of times I try and say, oh, well, that was just this, or oh, that was just that. But then there's sometimes that you just cannot ignore what it is, I'm gonna share a dream I had with you guys. I recently subscribed to a new channel, and I was looking at her post about talking about what dreams mean. And so I started thinking on the different times that I've had dreams, and I've had lots of weird dreams, and I used to keep a dream journal. Now I just wake up. If I remember anything, I log it into my phone really quick while I'm awake, and then I go back to sleep. So I had this dream once, pretty recently, and this dream stood out to me as the universe trying to reach out to me. Somebody could easily hear this dream and think was the universe really reaching out to you? And I actually was in a relationship with somebody who I really cared about. This was about a year or so ago. And anytime I had some kind of thing that I felt was coming from the universe, some kind of, connection, some kind of just little push coming through, I would get spiritual about it. And I always felt wow, this is just crazy that this happened, And it wasn't until I was actually with him when something very odd happened, and it was very obvious that the universe was trying to communicate with him, and I was there and I witnessed it and I videoed it, and he was even blown away. And I'm you see, don't be so skeptical. So anyway, I'm saying all that to say that pay attention and acknowledge it. Don't just brush things off as oh, that's just this. And I'm speaking to myself as well, because I'm very guilty of it. I'm very guilty of saying no, it was probably just this or that, whatever. So back to my dream. So I had this dream, and mind you, my background is I've been in front of the camera a lot. I've done video work, I've done acting, I've done TV hosting, I've done modeling. In my younger days. I am in my late 30s. When I was a lot younger, in my 20s, I was a really skinny body. I did print modeling. I did fashion modeling on the rare occasion that I got to do any kind of runway stuff, because they usually don't look for short people, but when it's local fashion stuff, they don't really, they're not as picky as high fashion runway. So I've done bikini modeling shoots. I've done fashion, clothing stuff. Like I said, I've done print modeling and editorial work, and so I'm used to being in front of the camera a lot. I don't know that I like it as much as I did when I was younger, but so I'm saying all that to say that I have lived a very vain life, and I, for a portion of my life, hung out with people that were very superficial and very about the look, and it's hard to not be that way when that's your job, when you're getting money to do this stuff, right? So anyway, I at some point in my life started to say it's not all about that stuff, and those people they're not the same as my high school friends, the people that truly have my back. I feel they were more fair weather friends, if you want to call it that. So anyway, as I've gotten older, it's definitely been very hard for me to accept the fact that, like, I don't just, like, walk into a restaurant anymore and everybody turn their head, you know? Like, I was used to just, you know, being, like, the center of attention for a very long time. So it was very hard for me to come to terms with the fact that I was aging. I have gained weight. I know people look at me and they think, oh, well, she's really thin, but, and I am not completely overweight, but I'm probably average, or maybe just a little bit below the weight I should be, you know, according to the doctor's office. But from being, you know, 97 pounds and people, you know, and being super young and people saying, like, you look amazing, you know, like, it's very hard to get away from that mindset and say, like, okay, I'm okay with aging, you know, I've got, like, bags under my eyes now, I'm 37, but I'm grateful that I feel like I'm aging gracefully. You know, I don't do the bikini stuff anymore. I can't do the bikini stuff anymore. Maybe if I took care of myself better and worked out more and had a harder body, I might. But so vanity and, you know, image has always been a very strong part of my life. As I've gotten older, I've acknowledged that that's not the only thing out there, but I still fucking like to put my lashes on. I still like to get my heels on. I still like to have my makeup on. Like, you know, I still like days with no makeup, but, you know, it's who I am. I was in pageants when I was a kid, you know, like, I was Little Miss San Antonio in 4th grade. You know, I did the pageant circuit as I got older, but it just got harder and more competitive, and, you know, just, I've constantly been surrounded by beautiful women my entire life, and I have no insecurities over that. I love having friends that are beautiful women. But what makes me insecure is my own self, is, like, looking at myself and saying, like, you know, I don't look the same like I used to. So, quick, about the dream. Rambling again. The dream I had was I was in a building, sort of like an old downtown, like one of those buildings that's, like, you know, has gargoyles on it, just very old looking, and it was very apparent that it was old. Apparently this was a building of, like, apartments and, like, condos, and I lived there, I guess. And I remember being, like, on the rooftop of this place, and there was, like, tables set out as if people were having lunch al fresco. Maybe there was a restaurant or some kind of place. There was tables with people sitting at them, and then on the floor of the rooftop, there was, like, this, like, turf-looking grass, like fake grass, like, just, I guess, to make it look nicer. I remember that for some reason. I don't know why I remember that so much. But I remember thinking they were trying to make this rooftop look like it was, you know, a day at the park. You know, people were at these tables, like restaurant tables with umbrellas on them outside, and having lunch or whatever. So I remember walking through there and talking to somebody, but there was nobody with me. It was as if I was talking to someone in my head. And so I walk through and I get into my building, get into my room, my condo, my apartment. And I remember feeling like I was with somebody that was very persistent in the message they were trying to give me, but I couldn't see this person. And I remember in the dream I was thinking, like, there was a mirror, a huge mirror, like my closet doors were a mirror. And I remember there being a bed, and it was like a huge bed, lots of blankets and stuff. And so this voice said, you need to look in the mirror. And I was like, I don't want to look in the mirror. You know, I don't want to look in the mirror. And the voice is like, no, like, you have to look in the mirror. It's not what you think. You need to look. And so I remember walking over to the mirror, and I was so afraid to look in the mirror. So I look in the mirror, and I stared at myself for a second, and it wasn't my face. It wasn't like how I normally feel on a daily basis. It was another version of myself. It was like, I remember looking at my face and thinking, like, wow, I look beautiful. Like, I remember that the look in my face was like one of, I even looked a little younger, and I was like my whole demeanor looked like smug almost in the mirror. Not, you know, the person not wanting to look in the mirror was like the insecure person, like the person that's, like, not okay with getting older, and you know, all that stuff that I'm currently going through. So I look in the mirror and I see this young face, seemingly young face, and there was life in this person's eyes. I remember thinking, like, wow, it's all in her eyes. Like, the way she looks, the way she is looking back at me, like, that look is a look of, I don't want to say desire, but that's a look of like, I don't know, like just a look of like, I'm amazing. I know I'm amazing. And I was like looking at this person like, I don't recognize that person, but I love the way she looks. And for some reason I had like lingerie on in the dream, and I got turned on, you know, and I started like groping myself, and I was just like, wow, like I can't believe how amazing I look. And so this person that was with me but not visible for some reason was like telling me in a telepathic way, because don't remember hearing the words, but I remember becoming immediately aware that this is not who I was anymore, that this was how I looked when I was alive, and that I was no longer alive. And at that point, I remember leaving the room, and I went back to the rooftop because I was going to meet somebody. I was scheduled to meet a friend. And so the friend shows up, and it's actually somebody that I know in real life, and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, and he's like, so what's it like? And it's like he knew that I was dead, or that I wasn't alive. I don't want to say dead because it didn't feel like I was dead, but he was like, you know, what's it like? And what's it like being dead? Maybe he said, I don't know. But so then I remember telling him, like, it's just so weird. It's so weird because it's like all the feelings you get when you're dead, like everything is so much more intense. Like, you know, like you want something and you have to have it now. It's just like there's no constraints of like the physicalities of like skin and bones and muscles. It's like you just feel and you exist, and like all the feelings are just kind of there. There's nothing containing them, so that they feel so much stronger. And he was like, wow. And so then I woke up from the dream, and it was 3:23 in the morning. I remember this. And I always wake up around that time after a dream, 3 or 4. I wake up, and I'm like, I had this, it was as if I'm laying in the bed, somebody whispered something in my ear. As I woke up, I sit up, and the words in my mind were negative quartz. Negative quartz. I never in my life, as a rock hound, I describe myself as a rock hound because I am a rock collector. I collect crystals, but I also collect all kinds of rocks. And I have never heard of negative quartz. And I'm like, so I start doing, you know, some research, like, you know, well, not right then, but when I wake up, and because I wrote it down in my little phone, my notes, I started looking up negative quartz, and I found out that there's such a thing called negative entropic quartz. So negative entropic quartz, I'm going to spare you all the details. I think you should look it up if you're curious. But entropy is the process of decay, the process that we all go through when we die. Entropy, right? Entropic. So negative entropic means like a reversal or a stopping of entropy. So I was like, I need to get one of those crystals. I need a negative quartz crystal so I could stop the fucking aging process and not die. That was my first thought that I thought. And so I still don't know what it means. I have a phantom crystal, which some people, I'm sort of confused. I'm still like kind of figuring out negative quartz versus phantom quartz, but I do have a phantom quartz that I love. And I got that in Terlingua, Texas. So anyway, there have been times where I'll wake up with something on my mind like that, and it just surprises me, like what the subconscious has for you and the universe. Could be the subconscious, could be the universe. I think that it's both. You know, and I was just like, holy shit, here I am, like going through this whole aging thing and having a dream about appreciating my youth while I have it, even though I claim I'm old. Like, you know, I'm only gonna get older, and you know, I'm going to embrace it as it happens. And I feel like I've been doing it. I have white hair that I don't pluck out. I don't dye my hair anymore. Like, I'm fortunate that my dad has dark hair still, and he's in like his 50s, late 50s. But anyway, so yeah, negative entropic quartz. I don't know if it really does anything for the aging process, but I am on a quest to actually mine my own. So I'm going to be doing that hopefully before the year ends. So that was that, you know. The other thing I'll say, that's one instant. I'm looking at the time, and it's gone way over the time. I just ramble so much. But anyway, so also, you know, people call, like, you know, you look at your phone or your watch, and it says 11:11 or 2:22, or, you know, and a lot of people say that's the universe trying to reach out. Lately, I have had I've had like a number of that happening. Like it's either 111, 1111. It's been 1111 a lot. And some people say, oh, well, you know, you just notice it because it's a recognizable number versus the times that you look at it and you don't bother to keep track of the rest of the, you know, numbers because it's not like, I don't know, people try to rationalize it, but I think that it's okay when it happens like once or twice. And to be honest, like it's not like I've never heard of 1111 or, you know, the universe or angel numbers, whatever people want to call it. It's not like I've never heard of that. Like I've learned about that like freaking 2011 when I first started my spiritual quest. Like I've known about that, but like, and I don't, that doesn't happen to me often, but I swear to God for like I don't want to swear to God, but I swear for like a span of a week, I just kept seeing numbers, 4s, 1s, 2s, 4s, 1s, and 2s mainly. I didn't see like 333 or 555, or it was mainly those. And so I'm like, that's just really weird, but I feel like the universe is trying to get my attention, but I didn't know why. I went to, this past weekend, I went to Amarillo to do some hiking and just kind of get away, and you know, I've got that gypsy soul, I have to appease it, you know, as often as I can. So I get there and I'm going with a friend of mine, and we go to the Airbnb. The Airbnb has a door code where you punch in numbers and the door opens and unlocks. And so we get there and we punch in the number. The number is the last 4 digits of my cell phone number. And I'm like, how fucking weird is that? For the whole week here I am like seeing this stuff. And then I punch in the number of my cell phone. Like, I don't know, it just felt like I was meant to be there. And I still can't figure out why. I don't know exactly why. I don't know what happened, or if something, you know, I took something with me from there. I did do a tarot reading for myself there. It was only a 3-card spread, past, present, and future, but they were really interesting cards. So I have meant to do a little more research and do, you know, all the meanings that it could mean. But anyway, gosh, this video is so long. I'm so sorry, you guys. I try not to ramble, but I'm a chatterbox, I guess. So anyway, I'm making this video to just say, don't rationalize the magic. You know, I think that sometimes you have to, and I think that there should be a little bit of that, but I think that when it's like, you know, like in some of the examples that I gave you, like when it's just too much and you're like, I can't believe that. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with accepting that the universe is trying to get your attention for some reason. Maybe it's something that you need personally, maybe it's something that you want, maybe it's, you know, a message from someone from beyond. Who's to say? Like, I don't know. I think that it's all in how, same like with tarot cards, you know, and divination in general. I think that those are just tools that we have. Like, tarot cards aren't like, you know, it's what you make of it, you know, and I hold them near and dear to my heart because they're just such a great tool to get your subconscious thinking. And also, I do believe that there's, you know, some way the universe communicates that way. So, you know, who's to say? Anyway, thanks for watching. So sorry this video's gotten so long. I have no intention of editing it, so just, I'm sorry. But pay attention, be open to it. I think that's the biggest thing too. Be open to hearing what the universe has to say, and, you know, ask. You know, a lot of times before I go to sleep, I'll say like, I'll ask a question, I'll pose a question to the universe, and I'll say, I really want to feel this, or I really want to know about this, or what should I do about this? And like, I'll have a dream, and then it will make no sense. And then once I start writing out the dream and like sort of deciphering it on my own, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's this. And, you know, I get an answer. Sometimes it's not entirely what I want. Sometimes it makes no sense. Sometimes I ponder it for a while before it makes sense. So I think, you know, just putting this video out there to remind you to always be trying to connect with the universe, and the universe will accept your invitation and come to you and, you know, bring a dragonfly to your shoulder, or, you know, play a song that you haven't heard that reminds you of somebody that you love that you lost, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Love and light to you guys. I've had a long day, so I don't know why I decided to make this video with this long day sort of energy, but I just felt like this is just something that I wanted to convey to you guys. So, bye.